Hi, my name is Danielle Barbado. Michelle had referenced and discussed literacy demands on social studies teachers. I'll be going a little bit further into that question. I will also answer how can incorporating literacy strategies be beneficial for social studies instruction and achievement. The demands on social studies and history teachers today uh, is quite large. Social studies teachers are now not just responsible for their content, but they're also responsible for literacy implementation due to the rise in testing and No Child Left Behind. So this leaves a lot of social studies teachers, especially veteran social studies teachers, feeling a little discouraged. They have difficulty deciphering between teaching their content and teaching literacy. As literacy coaches, and I'll get into this later, we can allow them the chance to see that they can embed these strategies into their content to make it a lot easier, and the students will be engaged and have fun. Amanda will state later in her presentation that social studies teachers are getting away from rote memorization and the textbook, kind of how we learned when we were younger, which is making social studies teachers feel uncomfortable. You know, they're pushing away the responsibility kind of onto the students. They're being asked to use multiple texts, disciplinary literacy, so critical thinking, while implementing these literacy strategies, vocabulary, and comprehension and such. In the article, they stated it is difficult for many teachers to understand the necessity of keeping the content of the text at the forefront while teaching strategies. So as literacy coaches, we want to make sure they know still keep the content as the focus, however, embed those literacy strategies into the content activities. As I had said, literacy coaches, we can alleviate some of that pressure just guiding them through the use of disciplinary literacy. As Michelle had explained, disciplinary literacy is not only using the content, but using those literacy skills and using student background knowledge all together. Social studies teachers can incorporate these activities, but they don't have to compromise the content. That they can use multiple texts from Newsela, ReadWorks, the textbook, modified articles, videos. They can use collaborative learning to teach these concepts. You know, one of the major ones we were taught in this course is Jigsaw. They can use debate, speeches, reader theater plays. And social studies does not have to be boring. We know that just in teaching in general, when students are engaged, they are truly learning the material, as long as these lessons are meaningful and purposeful. Allow students to change their perspective through text and exciting activities. Put them in the place of, you know, that particular historian or that particular person in history. The article stated, during interviews, students politely told me that in their view, social studies alternated between boring and interesting. When I asked what was interesting, they all referred to one lesson, a town hall meeting in which the teacher let students direct their own debate between loyalists and patriots. So allowing students to do the learning and, kind of like I said earlier, pushing that responsibility onto them while guiding and scaffolding them, but allowing them to get engaged and feel involved and let their voices be heard among both their peers and their teachers. In our chapter that we were supposed to read in Content Matters, they stated that the ways in which students engage in this intellectual work are just as important as the work itself. Implementing these strategies into social studies is extremely important, and again, repetitive, but allowing them time with various texts to compare and contrast, allowing them that time to critically think and recognize real world issues, you know, get involved in the world and what is going on. As stated by Gaston, Martinez, and Martin, there's no magic elixir for students' lack of motivation, engagement, and achievement in social studies, but literacy strategies were seen as a help that teachers might use to pique students' interest and help them succeed, which you'll see on the next slide when they created their study of two separate classrooms. Key, Bradley J., and Bradley declared that in order to stimulate students' interest in social studies and promote literacy, students must be actively involved. In this article, they studied two separate classes, a direct instruction classroom and a literacy strategy instruction classroom. As you can see, the mean average achievement scores were pretty close in the beginning, and then the mean average achievement post-test scores, the literacy strategy classroom was significantly higher. In the direct instruction classroom, there were 3 behavioral referrals given. There was a lack of motivation. They didn't complete their assignments. They had poor work ethic. They described social studies as boring. Their heads were on their desk. Whereas in the literacy strategies classroom, they were engaged, they were motivated, they were asking questions, they were on task. They found the content relevant. They were confident and they were eager to learn because it was meaningful. So embedding those literacy strategies into social studies such as comprehension, vocabulary, we learned a lot about this week, technology, non-traditional text, trade books like Michelle referenced, and quality professional development for these teachers is very, very important. So I thank you, and Amanda is going to discuss document-based lessons, and she will discuss assessment. So how do we know that these literacy strategies that we're implementing are working? Thank you.